Okay, this is just a disclaimer. Let's just start by saying I am not an expert on any of this shit. Please take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. This is my wholehearted opinion on what I think is going to happen with video games as a whole and what's going on right now. With that being said, here we go. Okay. No, but seriously, there's been a lot of news going along recently. I know everybody's a little on edge, a little nervous, but this is strictly video games. Only gonna talk about why COVID-19 or the coronavirus is affecting video games. And there's a lot to unpack with everything that's been going on. There's been a ton of video game news also getting dropped, which is some of the biggest things being E3 got canceled. And I know maybe if you're familiar with E3, but you're not like a diehard video game fan and you just assume, hey, like I get new video game announcements around that time, you're like, fuck, what am I going to do? There's hope for you yet. So E3 has been around since at least 1995, I think that was it. And it didn't really open its doors to the public until 2017. And so people obviously are stoked to go to E3 because they get to play all these new games and see all these new games coming out. And a lot of people have been like, oh, well, what's going to happen now because of the cancellation? Not much. For the last 2 years, Sony hasn't even been at E3. They weren't going to be here this year, and they weren't there last year. They do their own state of play, and it's all, they have been doing their own thing for a while because they kind of can, because they're Sony, and they're killing the game right now. No pun intended with that. E3 isn't what it used to be. I mean, Nintendo does their Nintendo Directs now. It's just different now, and a lot of the time, I know people are excited just to see the trailers that are coming out around E3. I'm almost 100% positive we're still going to get those things. That's not a problem because a trailer is a trailer. You can throw that on YouTube anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. That's probably what a lot of these companies are going to do now. A lot of these companies are going to be able to do the same thing they were going to do at E3, but just not in the E3 arena, which isn't a huge problem. There are problems with that, but I will get into that. I just wanted to start by saying E3 being canceled is big because it hasn't happened ever. There's been some changes and like some weird like postponements, but it's never been canceled outright. So that's super interesting. Other than that, there's actually been a lot of other gaming events and cons and stuff like that have been canceled as well. GDC has been postponed. It hasn't been canceled, but as of right now, it's been postponed, and who knows what is going to happen, and they might have to cancel it. It just depends. And that's kind of rough because that kind of is impactful to a lot of game developers. Obviously, it's Game Developers Con. That is another game conference where you get some stuff, you get some stuff that you want to see. And especially when it's a Game Developers Con, there's a lot of new game developers trying to break out and trying to show bigger developers their game. And that's kind of a big deal because that means those people aren't getting to show off their game to the right people, essentially. So that was huge, and I read that today. I didn't actually know that got canceled. So let's see. We got E3 and GDC, and then there was another one. So PAX was last weekend. It didn't get canceled because all of this stuff seemed to blow up just this week, but a lot of game companies dropped out of PAX. PAX isn't the E3 or anything like that. We get a couple trailers every now and then, but it's more for just people to go and enjoy themselves. The Penny Arcade Expo, but a ton of developers backed out pretty early, or right before it happened because they were afraid of other people getting sick before it became this whole like global catastrophe. So those are like the three, I would say, big ones that did get canceled and that are like have some weight, because to the consumer, you know, it's not a huge deal. You're still going to get your trailers, you're still going to get your games. It's not like they're delaying these games. It's more like I just have to see them on YouTube without being able to go. Because E3, like I said, it only opened its doors about in 2017, so what, 3 years ago? So whoever bought a ticket's getting reimbursed. That's no problem. The problem is for a lot of these developers, because E3, GDC, and PAX, like I was saying before, that those are like your moments to shine to other developers. I'm not even just saying that they're out of luck. The big developers, any developer, you're losing money because you want your game or your platform or whatever you're trying to sell to be on those stages. And that's obviously a lot of money that they're putting into it, but that's a ton of money that you're also getting back. Think of all the demos that aren't being played this year at E3, at GDC, at PAX, because these game companies dropped out. They're scared and worried about their health, and that means they're also gonna start to get worried about their income. Obviously, there are some game companies that are going to be fine no matter what. Sony, like I said, they've been doing this for the last 2 years. They haven't been at E3. Nintendo. But there are other game companies that honestly should be worried. Say I go and see something on a trailer on YouTube. What if I was going to PAX and I was on the fence about the trailer, but if I got to see it and play it hands-on, I could have been like, oh, I totally want to get that. So that's a huge problem that we're kind of facing right now with this coronavirus, COVID-19 spread. That being said, there's also a lot of other things that are going on, a lot of other video game related content and events that have been canceled and are possibly getting canceled. Esports obviously right now in this era are huge. Esports make video games that much better. You know, that's where the real money is when it comes to professional gaming. If you're not going to be a dev, but you love video games, the next thing you're going to be is either a content creator or a professional gamer. I was actually reading ESPN today. There are way more cancellations that even I realized, because the first thing that I saw that got canceled was NetherRealm, who makes Mortal Kombat. They were putting on their own tournament. It was open to the public. People bought tickets for this, and then the day before people were going to go and watch, they actually canceled, which is kind of got people really angry, because people had flown in and, you know, they came from all over the world, spectators at least, to watch this unfold. And then the day before, when pretty much everybody is there, it gets canceled. And yeah, they can refund your ticket for the event, but what about your airfare, your hotel, all the money you've wasted if you drove, your food? So a lot of people were upset with that. But I mean, at the end of the day, NetherRealm kind of made a good decision, because that's a lot of people fighting like any esports, I would say, fans, especially in the fighting game community. Their fans come from all over the world. There's a lot of different ethnicities going around. And when you have that many people in one spot, it's just probably not a good look. Which is a good call on NetherRealm's part for dropping it. Maybe it could have been a little earlier, I do agree. But with that being said, that's another thing that NetherRealm is now losing money on, because essentially all those people were not allowed to be there anymore. And it was just the finalists and just the contestants that were at the arena competing. It was still live streamed and it did well. But still, that's just capital that you're not making. Which is just another problem. Other than that, another huge fighting game tournament every single year, EVO, which I bought a ticket for. It's in Las Vegas. I can drive there easy. I'm pretty nervous because it's looking like this is going to be canceled. If the way that things are going continue to go, it's more than likely going to get canceled, because that is one of the biggest fighting game events in the world. So many people come from all over the world. That's going to be a huge problem. It's in the Mandalay Bay Arena. That arena is huge. So I'm honestly pretty nervous to see that get canceled, because because I was looking forward to going, and two, it's a very special place. I don't know if you're a lover of fighting games and you haven't gone, I really suggest you do, because it's unreal. You meet a lot of cool people, you make a lot of friends, and it would be really sad to see nobody be able to go besides the contestants. And also, another thing, there's a lot of contestants that go to Evo every year. I feel like they would probably have to cancel it, because in Evo there's pools, and I could go sign up for that. So that means there are hundreds of thousands of people probably signing up for this event. You can't put all those people in there still, even if it's just contestants. Somebody's going to get sick or anything like that. It's just not a good look. It's all comes down to just fans being unhappy, and then game developers losing money. It's super shitty. Another thing that's really, really bad, not even just in the fighting game community, we know Overwatch League is huge. Call of Duty League just started, and it's big, super big. There are tons and tons of games. Like, the esports go on and on. Overwatch League just canceled their games for March and April. They're hoping to be back after that. But Overwatch and Overwatch League is probably a huge part of Blizzard's capital. Those games have just been canceled, or postponed, I should say, until after April. So esports is definitely a huge moneymaker, and it's hard and kind of sad to see a lot of these pro players, and as well as these game companies, not being able to run their tournaments the way they need to. Because who knows how long this is going to last? Who knows if it's going to get worse? Who knows if it's going to get better? It's just scary to think about these people not being able to, one, do what they love, and two, make money and, live. So I am hoping personally just that everything gets figured out, or just it gets contained in some way, because video games mean a lot to us, and I don't think people realize the magnitude of what's happening. With that being said, as a consumer, if you're worried about your games not making it, because I know a lot of movies are getting delayed and other things are getting delayed and postponed, games should be set. Those should be shipped out, doesn't matter when, especially now in 2020, where you can pretty much download every single game that you want or that's coming out. That's not a problem. You're going to get your games, you're going to get your trailers, you're going to get your news. On the flip side, game developers probably are not super happy about what's happening right now. They're all doing a very good job of keeping it like, hey, we're sad to see this happening, but we really want to keep our employees safe. But they're losing money. People are losing money here. I really don't have much else to say. I think we just need to continue to wash our hands and keep gaming. I mean, we got a couple games coming out soon. I mean, next week we got Animal Crossing, and then we have Doom Eternal comes out as well. So definitely just look forward to that stuff, guys. That's all we can do. I'm Sirens of Decay. Here's an outro.